Entonces,
Okay.
okay.
Starting YouTube. I'm starting the YouTube right now, and then I'm gonna let everybody in. Everybody ready? Sweet.
Entonces,
Okay. Hola, everyone. Welcome to the Monday meditation with Drupal Lama Dorje. We're excited to have you here. It's raining pretty hard where we're at, so we're gonna do our best. I think we'll be able to maintain the internet connection the whole time, but just a heads up that it's pretty treacherous out there. Wow, we got so many people right off the bat. There's 42 people in the weight room. That's awesome. We're gonna wait 2, 3 minutes like normal to make sure that everybody can join us. And then I will turn it over to Lama Dorje and Eric. The original, the OG Lama. Let's see who we got here. There's so many people. Lama, listo.
hola, hola, muy buenas noches para todos,
Good evening, everyone.
porque haga mucha lluvia. Ojalá ustedes me escuchen bien.
It's raining a lot, so if you hear me well, I hope everyone can hear me well.
Eh, todos bienvenidos, todos hermanos y hermanas, algunos nuevos.
Welcome, brothers and sisters. I see some new faces here.
Maravilloso siempre para recordar nuestra meditación de la amor y compasión.
It's wonderful that we're all here together to remind ourselves to do this love and compassion meditation.
Eh, haga mucha lluvia.
It's a lot of rain.
Lluvia de bendiciones.
It's a rain of blessings.
Ok. Entonces me gustaría hoy comentar un poquito 4 reflexiones que fundamentan nuestra vida.
And today I want to talk about 4 reflections that are at the foundation of our lives.
Entonces esto es súper importante para nosotros despertar nuestra conciencia, saber construir nuestro chilista interno. Es muy importante.
And so these 4 reflections are very important for our awakening, to awaken our consciousness and for our practice, our internal well-being.
Primero, importancia de las vidas humanas.
The first is the importance of this precious human life that we live.
Todos nosotros tenemos un potencial maravilloso como corazón, cerebro, tenemos ingredientes de mayor felicidad que puede hacer como Buda por un día.
So we all have all of these precious qualities. We have a working heart, a working body, a working brain that allow us to become or work towards becoming a Buddha.
Entonces, primero es importante reconocer, agradecer cada momento, cuando tú dices, cuando el momento nos sentimos eh, no propósito de vida, ¿no? Cuando tú reconoces el potencial de personas de vida humano, tú encuentras un propósito de vida.
And so it's important for us to be thankful for this. And whenever we feel like we lost our purpose or can't find our purpose in life, we just need to remind ourselves that we have this precious human life that allows us to have this practice, to do this practice, and that can give us purpose.
Entonces, por eso es importante como reconocer, reflexionar cada día con alegría, ese de encontrado ese condición favorable. Nosotros fue uno sembrado, uno todo noble pasado, nosotros mismos. También agradecemos a nuestros padres que permitieron encontrar ese Dharma. Eso es muy afortunado.
And so we can be grateful every day if we reflect on this and just think about everything that has come or that has allowed us to be here. We can be thankful for our parents for giving us this life and be thankful for the conditions that we're in right now that allow us to live this precious human life.
Eso, entonces luego importancia ley de los cambios, como todas las cosas cambian, cada momento los pensamientos, también nosotros no suficiente, oh, yo tengo vida preciosa, no hacemos nada, algunos momentos puede como morir, ¿no? Perder esa vida preciosa, entonces no hizo nada. Por eso es importante nosotros usamos máximo posible hacia positiva, como despertar y como servir humanidad.
And the second reflection is to think about the law of impermanence, or that everything changes. Everything is in a constant state of change. And if we tie this to our reflection on this precious human life, we live this precious human life with all of these possibilities. And if we don't take advantage of it in maybe tomorrow or at any moment, that can change. We can suddenly die. So we have to also keep in mind that everything is impermanent, everything changes, and we must make what little time we have, just make the best of it.
Entonces eso es importante, ¿no? Porque nosotros tenemos muchos apegos, cosas del pasado, futuro, porque nunca existe presente, ¿cierto? Porque nosotros siempre pensando todo cosa permanente, algo no va a cambiar nada, ¿sí? Como si fuera quiero vivir 1000 años, ¿no? Por eso nosotros tratamos acumulando cosas externas, final no disfruta la vida porque mucha estresada, mucha ansiedad. Por eso impermanencia te ayuda para la mente momento presente.
And it's important again because if we look at things, like we get so attached to things and to the past, the future, and this is all because we think that everything is so permanent, everything is going to be there forever, always, and that allows us or causes us to easily become attached, become distracted. And if we take into account again this law of impermanence, then we can really think about how things are going to change, how we really have to make the best of this time and see that all of these things are not going to be there forever. So we don't need to get so attached to all of these things.
Por eso es importante cada momento que en la vida aprovechar, no dejar para mañana o próximo año, no dejarlos, como hacer ese momento, ¿no? No estamos esperando, porque a veces nosotros pensamos, un día yo quiero hacer una felicidad máximo o quiero descansar. Nunca va a suceder eso, ¿no? Y entonces, verdadero paz, felicidad, como grandes Budas, ¿no? Y realmente ya descansando, ya terminado todas tus actividades, ¿no? Y nosotros como actividad mundana, nunca va a terminar. Aumenta más. Mientras queremos, más infinito. Entonces, por eso es importante reconocer atención plena y disfrutar la vida. Para disfrutar vida significa usar bien. como como aprender filosofía de la vida, ¿no? Cómo funciona la ley de causa-efecto, cómo funciona nuestra mente. Y eso significa disfrutar la vida.
And so that also brings us like to focus on the present and to enjoy life. And when we talk about enjoying life, we're talking about also making the best out of this moment, and also take into consideration things like cause and effect, karma, how these things operate, how they are always going to be there. So if we see things as impermanent and understand this precious human life, we can also understand better that we need to act now. We need to not get engaged in thinking about the past, thinking about the future, or saying, oh, maybe tomorrow I'm going to practice. Maybe tomorrow I'll do this. Or next year I want to do this, take this vacation or rest. If we keep living like that, there's always going to be different things that come up, and just life is going to keep happening and happening. So we can't really just wait for the time to be right for us to say, okay, I'm going to start practicing and I'm going to start meditating. We actually have to take advantage of the present moment and do it right now, because otherwise the time will never come.
¿Entendió? Por eso todo el mundo sabe cómo un día va a morir, ¿cierto? Todo el mundo sabe, no hay duda de eso. Pero cuándo va a morir no sabe, ni pregunta eso, ¿no? Entonces, ese no para miedos, pero realmente ese de realidad, ¿no? Como realmente piensa, como no tienes como la certeza, como seguro, digamos, ¿no? Y no garantiza, yo quiero vivir 100 años, 1000 años, por ejemplo, no hay garantía. Por eso es importante usar bien, yo quiero decir, desde la impermanencia, uno de las muy importantes para vivir presente.
So yeah, this law of impermanence is really important to keep ourselves in the present. One thing that we all know and understand is that we are going to die. We just don't know when. That's the great mystery. We don't know when we're going to die. And it's not something that we're saying just to generate fear or concern, but it's really for us to understand really that we have to take care and be present at every moment and use it every moment as an opportunity to practice, because we never know what's going to happen next.
¿Entendió? Ok, eso como uno breve. Ese es segundo, ¿cierto? Perciò vida humano, ley de la impermanencia, segundo. Tercero, es importante, reflexionamos, siempre pensar, ley de la causa y efectos, todo la como tendo sufrimiento, felicidad, viene una causa, ¿verdad? Entonces, sin causa no existen fenómenos externos e internos. Por ejemplo, externamente muy fácilmente miramos árboles o flores, todo tiene semilla, ¿cierto? Acuerdo a su semilla, y él tiene el color de las flores y sabor de las frutas diferentes como limón o naranjas, etc. Es lo mismo nuestro interior, como todo la causa y efecto de nuestro pensamiento, ¿cierto? Cualquier nosotros proyectamos pensamiento positivo, acción positiva, cuerpo, palabra, mente, ese fruto viene a acuerdo a nosotros, esa acción, esa semilla.
And so, again, the first reflection is about the precious human life. The second is about this law of impermanence. And the third one is about cause and effect, the law of cause and effect, and how this operates every day in our lives. We have to keep in mind that whatever we plant, are the seeds that we plant, that's going to generate consequences, whether it be happiness, the happiness that we're living right now, or whatever misery that we're living right now. It has a previous cost. Everything has a previous cost. The same way that a flower or an orange, those fruits came from a seed at some point, and we can see it like that, like we are planting the seeds right now of what we will be, or what will be a fruit in the future. So we have to understand that it's really important for us to know that whatever we do with our body, speech, and mind right now, that's going to have an effect in the future.
¿Entendió? Por eso solo probarla día a día. Es muy sencillo. Durante tu día, hoy día despierte muy feliz, animado, hoy día muy feliz, como Cindy, ¿cierto? Usted piensa que viene algo más, magia, viene algo fuera, ¿no? En realidad, nosotros mismos cultivamos algo pensamiento positivo, como ayer, algunas positivas, o pues sentimos un poquito de amor, un poquito de compasión, y ese de fruta está brotando, ¿cierto? Momento feliz, ¿cierto? Y cualquiera de nosotros, momento angustia o algo sentimos como la tristeza, etcétera, seguramente atrás tiene una causa, algunos pensamientos negativos, alguna acción negativas, reacción negativas, ¿no? Y eso nosotros afecta, ¿verdad? Es llamado ley de aspectos. Por eso, más resumido, cuando nosotros sembramos un amor, él recibe como amor, ¿cierto? Cuando nosotros sembramos una rabia, él recibe la rabia. Ese es como resumido.
And so we were talking about how this has an effect, or this cause and effect really takes care or affects externally and internally. So for example, if we wake up today and we're very happy, we just wake up like feeling this very joyful state, we can think about it and say, okay, we feel this is an effect of a previous cause. At some point I cultivated this joy, or some action I did led me to waking up like this, or to feeling this. The same way, if I wake up, or if I'm suddenly feeling very sad, very stressed, or very angry, there was a cause at some point that led me to feel that way. And these causes are internally. I must have thought about something, said something, or acted in some way that eventually will lead to this effect of how I feel. So in short, if we bring it all back together and talk about our inner life and our daily lives, it's just, if we plant seeds of love, that's what we're going to get in the future. And if we are getting love right now, it's because we planted love before, so we can keep doing that. But if we do the same thing with anger or with any other negative emotion, that's also what we're going to get. So the moment that we receive anger, we just think that at some point that's what I planted. So if I want to keep that cycle, that's what I'm going to be doing. If I plant anger, that's what I'll get. So we have to keep in mind that it's always what we do in the present moment that's going to be reflected on what we get in the future.
Maravilloso. Entonces, más resumido, feliz de sufrimiento en la mano, ¿cierto? Ninguna persona no da. Alguien no va tocando su puerta, por favor, haga feliz, o por favor, a sufrir. No dice ninguno. Todo depende de nosotros, cualidad de nuestras acciones, ¿no? Más resumido, ¿cierto? Cualquier nosotros última acción positiva. Y todo hacer como felicidad, ¿verdad? Porque todo interdependencia, causa, efectos como condicionada, nosotros podemos querer eso, ¿cierto? Podemos modificar. No, hoy día tristeza, porque mañana puede ser feliz, ¿cierto? Porque pues, todo es impermanencia, es buena noticia, ¿cierto? Nada permanente. Por eso puede modificar, puede hacer infinito tu felicidad en las manos, ¿no? Entonces, alguna persona o algunos de nosotros elegimos sufrimiento inconscientemente. Por supuesto, todos nosotros, todos los seres en los mundos quieren feliz, no quieren sufrir. No hay duda de eso. Pero lamentablemente a veces con la confusión o a veces influencia de apego, rabia, va como bajo de este control, ¿no? Y ahí nos perdemos realmente. Por eso es importante la conciencia de eso, ¿no? Conciencia de, ley de la causa efecto, cómo funciona, ¿no?
And again, it's very important to keep in mind this law of cause and effect. And to even bring it into a shorter concept, it's basically whatever happiness or miseries, I mean, whatever we choose, it's really in our hand. Our own happiness or our own misery, it's really here. We control it. It's in our hand, and we dictate it with the actions that we take at each moment. So bringing it back to, for example, impermanence, it's also a good thing, because even if we're passing through a difficult time or a very sad time or feeling some emotions that are suffering, we know that they are also impermanent. And even if we feel happiness, that's also impermanent. But the thing is that understanding this and understanding that whatever we do right now is going to have an effect in the future, we can actually change our lives. We can actually then work towards increasing happiness every day a little bit more until we get this infinite happiness. And we can remove basically all of our miseries. So just being aware of that and trying to be conscious about our everyday decisions, our everyday actions can have a lasting effect. We know that everybody wants to be happy. Nobody wants to suffer. That's a given. We can all know that for myself, and if everybody wants the same thing, we can assume it for everybody else. So keeping that in mind, we can choose how to act for this reason, how to make other beings happy, how to make everyone happy and myself happy. What happens is that sometimes we get confused. This ignorance or confusion can sometimes get in the way, and that's when we start seeing attachment. That's when we start seeing anger or aversion, and that's where we kind of begin with all of this suffering. So reflecting on these things and bringing things back to being conscious of our actions in the present is really important, because that's really what allows us or gives us control, total control over our happiness in the future.
Maravilloso. Entonces, por eso, cuando momentos alguna condición externos, como la condición desagradable, cualquier situación, mejor reacción manera de como amorosa, compasivo, ¿cierto? Porque no pensamos solo para, ¿cómo se llama? Solo para no pensar uno mismo, oh, yo va a reaccionar negativo, yo va a sufrir. También otro sería para sufrir también, ¿cierto? Cuando reacciona de manera de agresividad, otro va a sufrir, tú sufrir. Ambos sufrimos, ¿cierto? Entonces, mejor y importante, como siempre hablo, ¿no? Y con la respiración, mente calma, y podemos tu reacción de manera positiva, ¿no? Y eso puede ayudar mucho para, como reserva, como para energía de uno mismo o demás.
And then there's going to be situations where the external conditions are simply beyond our control, right? Must be something outside happening that could cause us to feel a certain way, or be not ideal or negative in a way. But that's when we can, again, just think about how my reaction is going to really determine the outcome for the future. So I can choose to try to remain loving and kind in this situation, or I can choose to react in a different way with anger or anything like that. What I do need to keep in mind is not just that if I react with suffering, I will also generate suffering for myself, but I also generate suffering for other people. If I lash out in anger, I'm not just hurting myself in the future, I'm also hurting those people I'm angry with or whoever I reacted with. So that's where we see the importance also of the practice that we do today, where I can just then get back to the present, just focus, breathe, and focus on my breath, try to calm myself, and then find this place of love and kindness where I can react to this situation, or I can consciously choose to act in a different way. And that's the benefit of the practice.
Maravilloso. Es siempre traer la mente en el corazón. Cada vez inhala, exhala, sentir tu corazón. Eso significa tú estás como neutralizado, no como tus autos como neutros, neutro como no sé, mecánico, ¿no? Tú puedes manejar, ¿cierto? Ya listo. Si está no neutralizado, tú manejando peligroso.
And so it's like just putting our mind in our heart, basically, in a way, and with our breath, just bringing our awareness back to our heart, toward this loving place. And there we can give ourselves the space to actually choose our actions. kind of like when we're driving a car, or if a car is in, for those of you that drive stick, when you put the car like in neutral position, there's no gears or anything. You can actually choose which gear you want to move into, like first, second, or third, instead of just having already this momentum where you just go in one place and there's no other option to go to but just follow like the momentum. You can actually just stop and choose and see if you want to pump the brakes or if you want to go back and do reverse. So that's kind of like the analogy that Lama is giving us.
Ok. Y cuarto ese como la samsara. Samsara ese existencia cíclica. Entonces nosotros día a día, pero samsara es refiriendo interno, ya como parte estado de mental, ¿no? Y nosotros siguiendo los pensamientos en diferentes estados, ¿no? Porque a veces estamos un poquito de rabia, a veces un poco de apego, tristeza, miedo, etc. Todo eso como círculo samsárico, ¿no? ¿Y cómo salimos de eso? Cuando tu momento da cuenta como atención plena y tú puedes salir de eso.
And then the fourth point is thinking about samsara. And when we say think about samsara, we talk about our inner, like this inner cycle of suffering that we're stuck in, not just like the whole existence of samsara, but how we're just so caught up in all of these cycles and just suffering and reacting and things like that. And this is just going to continue forever and ever if we don't actually do something about it. So the only way that we can actually change that is if we, again, stop with what we have discussed before, just stop, pause, and give ourselves this opportunity to practice and to choose to act from a different, from this place of love within our hearts.
Entonces, ok. Entonces, eso resumido, la más hablando, y cualquier práctica espiritual o meditación, muy importante tener esas cuatro bases como fundamentos, ¿cierto? Cualquiera construimos una casa, nada sería una base fundamento, ¿cierto? Sin fundamento no podemos colocar el techo, ni muralla, ni pilar, no existe. Eso es un fundamento, la práctica que puede establecer. Si nosotros, por ejemplo, no entendemos ese cuatro, y al momento tú puedes meditar muy alto como la Dzogchen o Mahamudra, Bhagavad, puede caer algunos momentos.
And these four reflections, they're really very important. They kind of lay the ground and the foundations for any successful spiritual practice. No matter the practice that you do, if you focus on these four reflections, you know that you're going to have the right motivation for whatever it is you're doing. Because if you don't, you might even get to a point where you're meditating on some of the highest teachings or Dzogchen, Mahamudra, but eventually you just kind of come crashing down if you don't really have the right foundations, because that's what builds the stability and the strength of our practice. Otherwise, it's very easy for it to kind of fall down.
Ok, maravilloso. Eso para solo recordamos y ahora vamos a par de práctica meditación juntos.
All right, so just that's what I wanted to talk about, and now we're going to do our meditation.
Y postura más cómoda posible.
So let's start by getting into a comfortable position.
Entonces, práctica siempre hacemos en Tonglen, ¿no? Tonglen, como Tong significa dar a través del amor, Len significa recibir a través de compasión, la propio sufrimiento o aceptando a través de compasiones.
And so as usual, this Monday practice is Tong Len. So Tong is to give with love, and Leng talks about receiving or accepting with compassion.
Entonces, vamos, si quiere, ojo cerrado o ojo abierto, depende de cada uno.
Okay, so once you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or keep them open, however you feel is best for you.
Entonces, momento muy sagrado, ese momento, un silencio, ese momento, tratar, no miramos celular, solo enfocamos ese momento, máximo 10 minutos, muy sagrado.
And let's just treat this moment as a very sacred moment. The next 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to be meditating. Try not looking at your cell phone. Just bring your awareness to this present moment and treat it as very sacred space that we're giving ourselves.
Es solo inhala profundamente,
You just take a deep breath in
exhalen profundamente.
and a deep breath out.
Y cuando inhalen, todo como la tomando la todo, toda la bendición, la amor incondicional, la compasión de todo, todos los grandes maestros, grandes budas, bodhisattvas.
And as you take a deep breath in, just feel as if you're inhaling all of the blessings and the positive energy coming in from all the great Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and just feel this intense energy that's coming into your body.
Y exhalen, soltando como la tensión, como estrés, todo, con ansiedad, algunos sufrimientos, como solta, desapegarlos.
So as you breathe in these blessings and wisdom, and as you breathe out, just breathe out or exhale, release all of your stress, all of the whatever worries or problems or emotions that you have, just let them go as you breathe out.
Y solo poco tu mente estará en su centro de corazón, sentir corazón.
And just slowly start focusing your mind into the center of your heart.
Y sentimos tu presencia, tu amor, tu propia compasión.
And just feel your presence there, your own love, your own compassion that's already there.
Solo descansa el cuerpo, descansa la mente.
And just rest your body, rest your mind in this space.
Y solo recordando nuestra vida preciosa, una condición favorable, sus potenciales.
And think about our precious human life, our favorable conditions that we're in right now, and all of the potential that we have in this life.
Y también recordando nuestra propia bondad, que nosotros hicimos mejor que posible nosotros mismos para avanzar nuestra vida, conseguir felicidad. Solo reconocen la bondad de uno mismo.
And also recognizing our own kindness, our own innate goodness, and how we really have been acting and looking for ways to be kinder to ourselves and to allow us a place to be peaceful and to be happy.
Y también sentimos mucho amor y esa manera para nuestra propia vida.
And we can feel a lot of love for ourselves and for our lives in this way.
Pero ama nuestro potencial, ama nuestra esencia, no ama nuestro ego, apegos.
When we talk about loving ourselves, we talk about loving our potential, loving what's the essence that is within us, not really about attachment or loving ourselves, our ego.
Y sentimos también autocompasión. Algunos momentos nosotros, nuestra vida, influencia de aflicciones como todos los venenos, y nos dejamos sufrimos muchos. Entonces, estamos sintiendo autocompasión. En algunos momentos mucho autocriticamos, autosaboteamos. Esto como sentir autocompasión, no sentir culpa.
Then, with this love, we can also be compassionate or feel compassion towards ourselves, because there are some times where we haven't acted in our own best interest, where due to the three poisons, due to afflictions, we have acted in ways that have hurt ourselves or hurt others. And we don't want to blame ourselves. It just feels shame or guilt. We just want to understand that there are some times where we just really didn't know better, and just compassionately accepting that and accepting this about ourselves. This is what we can think about right now.
Solo inhalar con la S. Compassion, autocompassion, exhalar, como sentir amor en uno mismo.
So as you breathe in, you can breathe in with this sense of compassion towards yourselves. And as you breathe out, just focus on the love that we also feel for ourselves.
Un momento, haciendo como autotonlen.
And this is sort of like a self-tongue.
Entonces, solo recibir propia situación, propio desafío a través de la autocompasión y nosotros sentimos amor, amor nuestra vida y a través de amor transformando esos sufrimientos, desafíos y solo dando el amor, la felicidad uno mismo.
And so with this, we can actually transform. And as we breathe in, we receive with compassion whatever suffering we have, whatever guilt or negative feelings that we have towards ourselves or towards our mistakes, and just transform it. And as we breathe out, just release it into love, into the love that we feel for our lives, the love we feel for ourselves, and our wanting to be a better person and happier every day. So we can use this as a transformation tool within ourselves.
Recordamos el interno, verdadero felicidad dentro de nosotros, dentro de nuestra mente. Solo necesita ese amor, esa compasión, esa conciencia que transformamos todo ese como fuera hielos y nosotros todo ese hielo de la aflicción y sufrimiento derretemos en la como aguas a través del calor del sol del amor.
And so we continue this, and with this transformation, we can think of it as if it were ice, for example. If our afflictions are this solid state of ice, we can just bring it into the warmth of our heart and just transform it into this flowing waters of love that we can then send out as we breathe out.
Y a través de nosotros, propio desafío, propio como esa situación y problema de la vida, luego pensamos, todos los seres libera a través de mi dolor y yo transformando a través de mi dolor y sufrimiento de todos los seres.
And then we can think about whatever situation or challenge that I'm going in right now, that I'm working with through this Tonglen practice. I can think about how I can use it to, or all the beings, they're also suffering in the same way. So I can transform and just receive the suffering of any being that's going through the same situation. I can take away their pain and transform it into love through my practice.
Atención plena de la amor y compasión.
Just bring your awareness or maintain your awareness in love and compassion.
Inhalen, exhalando profundamente.
Continue breathing in, deep breath out.
Y también por sentir bondad de todos los seres, como la serie, algunas series de verde, algunas series amorosas, no importa, alguna manera que nos ayuda para vivir y crecer, despertar. Es siempre bondadoso todos los seres.
And we can think about the kindness of all the beings or the goodness, the good qualities of all the beings. Doesn't matter if it's our loved ones or beings that we can consider difficult beings or even our enemies. There's a goodness element in them, and we can see that they either give us love or also give us the opportunity for us to improve ourselves and to grow spiritually. So there's always a good aspect to all the beings.
Haciendo poquito también para todos los seres del universo.
And we can do Tonglen for all the beings in the universe.
Quien está dañando en el mundo, igual tiene uno lleno de herida dentro sufriendo. Quien está recibiendo, por supuesto, está sufriendo. Entonces, final sufre ambos. Quien está dañando, quien está recibiendo, es todo golpe.
And whoever is doing harm in the world, we know for sure that they are suffering in some way. And obviously, whoever is receiving harm is also suffering. So based on that, we can see and understand that all of these beings are suffering, whether they are doing harm or receiving it. And we can work with their suffering and just transform it in our practice.
Y ven como la amor de la sol, bien brillante, luminoso.
And we can send out this love as bright as the sun, just this very bright and luminous love, just like the sunlight.
Transformando todas oscuridades.
And we can see how this light just transforms all of the darkness that is their suffering.
Y poco todo les mérito dedicando y beneficio a todos los seres.
And now we can dedicate the merit or the benefit of, or sorry, the merit of our practice for the benefit of all of our sentient beings.
Anjo senjo che ma ge wa na ge yor je e wa nyam bar me ba yang pone pondo per wa Chanjo senjo rinpo che ma ye wa nan ge gyor je ye wa nyam bar me bar yang pone pondo ter wa jo.
May the supreme bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase forevermore. Que la suprema joya bodhicitta que no ha surgido pueda surgir y crecer, y que la que ha surgido no disminuir, sino incrementarse más y más.
Inhalen, exhalando profundamente
Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out,
y poco terminando.
and we conclude our practice.
Y recordamos ese Lama hizo tarea 4 reflexiones.
And so a little bit homework for this week, just these 4 reflections, keep them in mind.
Y es solo como mindfulness, día a día, piensa eso cada momento, oh, precioso vida humano. y autorrespeto y como impermanencia, cualquier cambio, cualquier suicidio, solo pensar eso.
Just think about it every day, whenever you can. Just think about, oh, this precious human life, or how anything can change and it's impermanent, cause and effect, and all of the things. Whenever we can, and if you can every day, just think about those 4 reflections.
¿Ok? Acá tenemos una pregunta, Entity Carolina, ¿quiere hablar algo? Una pregunta escrito en la mensaje, puede leer uno solo de you
Okay.
can
So we have one question here in messages, and it says, if the negative thoughts or actions are the result of early trauma, how does one deal with this? Is trying to understand the trauma or even trying to identify it necessary, even useful? Entonces, la pregunta la más, si digamos los pensamientos negativos o las acciones también, o lo que sentimos, sentimientos negativos son el resultado de algún trauma en el pasado, por ejemplo, alguna situación traumática en el pasado, ¿cómo trabajamos con eso? O sea, ¿es necesario tener que entender ese trauma o si identificarlo de alguna manera es necesario o útil o cómo podemos manejar estas situaciones después de un evento traumático?
entiendo. Tal vez, claro, bueno, poquito de conocer, ¿no?
Okay, so it's good to kind of be able to shed some light on the traumatic event.
¿No? Normalmente por cualquier suicidio en el pasado ya pasó, ¿cierto?
So understanding that whatever happened in the past, it's already passed or already happened.
No regresamos.
So we don't need to actually go back,
Pero es una experiencia para vida.
but we have to see it as a life experience.
Y claro, algunos de nosotros tendencia es fuerte, siempre apego, como 20 años atrás pasó, como seguir trayendo ese mochila de kármico, ¿cierto?
And obviously, there might be situations where our tendencies our attachment is too strong, and it can be, I don't know, 20 years later, and we still kind of relive that situation in the past.
Entonces, yo quiero que es importante una aceptación, una de las cosas, aceptación.
So one of the first things, even though, well, it's just accepting, really accepting the situation,
Aceptación a través de una compasión, una sabiduría,
but accepting through compassion and through wisdom.
¿no? Y cualquiera como la tiene algunos venenos, eso como la tendencia, solo reconoce primero.
And whatever comes after, if there's any tendencies towards like the poisons that we talk about, towards the afflictions, the first thing is just be able to recognize them, at least be able to recognize them,
Como identificar eso, ¿no?
just identify them.
Entonces, después de ese, ¿cuál es su medicina, su antídotos?
Once we can identify them, then we can start thinking about, okay, what's the antidote? What's the medicine for whatever I identified?
Por ejemplo, tú tienes mucha rabia, por ejemplo, ¿ya? Un suicidio, mucha rabia.
For example, if what I identified is that it generates this extreme amount of anger or rage,
Y como tú necesitas paciencia, ¿cierto?
so we know that we need patience. That's the antidote.
Paciencia viene de compasión.
And patience comes from compassion.
Compasión viene de compresión. Compresión.
And then compassion comes from understanding.
Entonces, cuando comprendemos eso, esta es la solución.
So whenever we can view the situation in an understanding way, there's our solution. From that understanding comes compassion, and from that comes patience.
Y practica ese Tonglen, como haga Tonglen con eso.
And then we can also use the same practice of Tonglen for situations like that.
¿Ya? Eso es como resumido práctico.
So that's kind of a short practice that we can do.
Ok, muchas gracias, Rashidile. Y Carlos quiere compartir alguna cosa.
Sí, gracias. Thank you, Lama. Thank you, Eric, for a beautiful meditation. Muchas gracias por la meditación. And I just wanted to share that we have a special announcement on June 24th, which is also a Monday meditation. Kinmola is coming back again to share with us, so we're so excited. Kinmo is Kinmo Dokar. She's a nun in the Drikung Kagyu lineage, and she taught once before with us here, and we're so excited to have her back. We requested that she does a teaching on selflessness in the absence of I. And this was actually a suggestion from Lama to be the next teaching that he would like us to learn. We've been learning a lot about compassion, and compassion actually naturally moves us into a concept of emptiness, which is kind of unique to Buddhism. So I think it's going to be very interesting for us to hear from Kenmola. And this time, we know last time it might have been a little bit challenging to understand Kenmola. So we do have a Tibetan translator this time. So she's going to be speaking directly in Tibetan, so we can really hear the full depth and essence of her teachings. And it's going to be translated Tibetan to English. And we're also going to have, it's a Spanish, how's it called? Translation room. We're going to have a Spanish translation room. And then we may have a Portuguese translation room. We'll know a little closer to time. So just so you know, you're not going to have to wait for like 3 translations. It's going to be from Tibetan to English, and then whichever of the other rooms that you're in, you'll get a direct translation right away. So we really hope that y'all can mark your calendars to be here on Meditation Monday. As we shared before, it's very rare to receive teachings from female Kenmos and nuns, especially in the Drikung Kagyu lineage. It's just like they're just now, we're just so grateful. They're getting titles right now as being fabulous scholars and teachers, and we really want to follow the mission of His Holiness Jetsun Rinpoche in supporting the women to be able to become teachers. So the more that we come to these teachings and support them, it really encourages them to be able to take that step in their life from being someone who like has so much Dharma wisdom and they're practicing and studying to actually opening up their voices and sharing with us. So I just really want to invite everyone to join us for that. Please invite your friends as well. And as always, you know, we keep Meditation Monday a free experience so that everyone has an opportunity to enjoy the Dharma. On the Mondays that we bring Kenmola, we will offer a donation link so that, again, we can support Kenmo. She lives in a monastery, and it's really just nice for us to show our thankfulness. So even $1 makes a big difference in India. So if you feel up to it and you want to share a donation, that possibility will be available. Again, it's optional though, so it's up to you. And it's going to be the same time at 7 p.m. CST. And you can imagine it's going to be an hour at least, and we'll have time for question and answer with Kim as well. Entonces también en español quería avisarles que el día 24, que es en 2 lunes de ahorita, vamos a tener una especial profesora, que es la Anila Arkenmola Jokar. Ella está enseñando desde India, y esa vez nos va a enseñar de el ausencia de yo, selflessness.
We lost her.
Pasó ella.
Parece que se desconectaron. Ella y Jeff, yo creo.
Ya.
Pero bueno,
Ya.
voy
ya.
a...
Tú
Sí.
puedes, sí, resumido.
Ok, resumido, lo que estaba diciendo Carolina es que entonces va a haber esta enseñanza de Kemola. Ella es una monja, ya ha dado una enseñanza anteriormente, y el tema que va a enfocarse ahorita va a ser en la ausencia del yo, que Lama le pidió específicamente esta enseñanza. Nos hemos centrado mucho en las enseñanzas de la compasión, y en el budismo, como adentrarse en la compasión eventualmente nos lleva al tema de el vacío o la vacuidad. Entonces es muy interesante y va a ser una gran oportunidad para poder escuchar de una gran maestra también. No se da mucho que sean monjas o mujeres que nos puedan compartir estas enseñanzas, entonces va a ser una gran oportunidad. Normalmente las meditaciones los lunes son gratuitas, se va a mantener así, pero también durante esta meditación se va a ofrecer un link para hacer alguna donación si gustan, que sería una manera muy bonita de poder agradecer también la enseñanza y también sabiendo que aunque sea una donación de $1 en la India, eso es muy importante, o sea, es bastante y les puede ayudar bastante aunque sea $1. Entonces, están invitados todos a esta meditación con Ken Mola. Es el 24, creo, right, Jeff? 24th.
Sí.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Ah, there is Carolina. Um, sí, no sé, creo que eso era más o menos. Carolina, no sé si quieres agregar algo más.
Sí, disculpa, ya fue la internet por un rato acá, pero sí, no sé qué, me imagino que era traducir lo que estaba diciendo, pero sí, será maravilloso que todos participan, estamos muy animados para just dar ánimo a nuestras maestras, entonces estamos muy agradecidos que ella va a enseñarnos, entonces muchísimas gracias.
Maravilloso. Maravilloso se llama, ¿verdad? Una vida maravillosa.
Emajo.
Emajo, sí, exactamente, está escrito. Ok, vamos muy como emocionados. Uno escucha mujeres, siempre la más hablan los hombres, ¿cierto? Entonces a veces, bueno, mujeres, ¿cierto? Ya. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches. Ese no
Gracias.
nos usted ya.
Buenas noches.
Muchas
Gracias, Lama.
gracias, Eric, hermano.
Un gusto, gracias,
Gracias, Lama.
Lama.
Jeffrey.
Gracias, Eric.
Everyone, and have a good
Lama.
Gracias, Lama.
Nos vemos próximo.
Tashidele.
Tashidele.
Buenas noches.